What's going on, everyone? Thanks for joining me today. I'm Steven, and I'd like to welcome you to my YouTube channel, Learn English, Go Places. This channel helps students and working professionals have fluid conversations, master English grammar, and broaden their knowledge of everyday English. Today, I want to talk about when to use definite articles, when to use indefinite articles, and when not to use any articles at all. First of all, what is an article? So an article is a small word that comes before a noun to provide more information about that noun. In English, the indefinite articles are a for singular nouns, one thing, and some for plural nouns, two or more things. If a noun starts with a vowel, like alligator, we use the indefinite article an to refer to it. So for example, an alligator. When it comes to definite articles in English, there's only one definite article, and that's the. So we use the for both singular nouns and plural nouns. When do we use indefinite articles in English? We use indefinite articles when we're talking about things that have not previously been talked about or things that are not known to us. For example, a 72-year-old man presented to the emergency department with shortness of breath. We don't know the man, so we use the indefinite article a. Second example, Zoe drives an electric car. You can think of the indefinite article a as being synonymous with the number one. It's kind of like one unknown example of something. Another example, the nurse gave the patient a shot of insulin. So that's indefinite articles, a, an, or some. Now, when do we use definite articles? We use definite articles to talk about a specific thing that we already know about. For example, I might say, a 72-year-old man presented to the emergency department with shortness of breath. The man was given oxygen. So in that example, the first sentence introduces the man who we don't know. So we use the indefinite article a. And the second sentence continues to talk about the man who we now know. So we use the definite article the. We also use definite articles when there's only one of something. So for example, the sun. There's only one sun, so we always refer to the sun as the sun. Same thing with the moon, unless we're talking about the moons of Jupiter or something like that. Other examples would be the president, the CEO, or the attending physician. There are certain nouns that almost always take definite articles. So for example, when we're talking about seasons, we usually say in the winter, in the spring, in the summer, in the fall. And when we're talking about the weather, we would always say the weather. What's the weather like today? How's the weather there? A lot of times we also use definite articles in expressions of place, even when we don't know the specific place. So for example, Americans drive on the right side of the road. I saw a man crossing the street. Elena is in the hospital. Jorge is in the ICU. In these cases, we're not talking about any specific road, street, hospital, or ICU, but we still use the definite article, the. When do we not use articles? So we generally don't use articles when we're talking about uncountable nouns. And this is really important. Here are a few examples. My favorite fruit is pineapple. Money can't buy happiness. These are uncountable nouns, and in general, we don't use articles with them. There are exceptions to this rule. Sometimes we can use definite articles with uncountable nouns, but we'll not get into that today. We also don't use articles when we're talking about things people do in general, even when we're using count nouns. So, for example, listen to these sentences. John likes peppers. Mary eats donuts. Jessica teaches students. Jose writes books. These are countable nouns, but because we're talking in general about things people do, we're not using any articles in these sentences. And we also don't use articles when talking about specific people. For example, we don't say the Mr. Jones. We just say Mr. Jones. And we don't use articles when we talk about countries. We would never say, for example, Veronique lives in the France. We would say Veronique lives in France. We also don't use articles with days of the week or years. We just say on Tuesday or in 2012. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you appreciated the video, and have a sweet day.